Ladies, you say something real. Some things most men won't say out loud. A man doesn't fall in love when everything is perfect. He doesn't fall for you just because you got the look, or you got that walk, or you got that voice that makes him look up from across the room. That might catch his attention, sure. That might start the interest. But that ain't what makes him fall. No, he really falls in love the moment he realizes he can be vulnerable with you and still feel like a man. I know the word vulnerable ain't the sexiest thing to say, but let's stop acting like it ain't the truth. You see, every man walks around with a mask. We carry this armor on our chest because this world tells us, be strong. Don't cry. Don't be soft. From the time we boys, we're taught to be hard, to not show weakness, to never let people see us sweat. So we grow up learning how to hide. We hide our fears, our pain, our insecurities, and we smile like everything's fine, even when the weight is crushing us. And then we meet you. You, the woman who might just change everything. But we don't know that at first. At first, we're just observing. We're looking. Can I trust her? Can I let her see the side of me nobody else sees? Can I show her my cracks and still be respected? See, a man tests you with silence first. He'll go quiet just to see what you do. Will you panic? Will you pressure him to talk? Or will you be patient and present? Because when a man is silent, sometimes it's not that he's pushing you away, he's trying to figure out if this space between you will be safe when he finally opens up. And when he finally does start talking, and I mean really talking, not about sports, not about business, not about shallow stuff, but when he starts opening up about his fears, his childhood, his failures, his shame, that's the test. That's the moment. He's watching your reaction. He's watching how you look at him when he tells you he's not always strong. He's paying attention to whether you still look at him like he's a man, even when he tells you what makes him feel weak. If you can hold that space for him without trying to fix him, without judging him, without throwing it back in his face later, girl, that's when something shifts in his heart. That's when he starts seeing you different. That's when you become his safe place. And that right there is when he starts to fall. Not when you were trying to impress him, but when you were just present. Just listening, just allowing him to be. Because we don't always need you to have answers. Sometimes we just need you to let us be human. To let us take off that mask and breathe. If a man can cry in front of you and not feel ashamed afterward, if he can talk to you about what he's scared of and still feel respected, then baby, you've got him in a way no one else ever did. Men don't say it out loud, but we are dying for a place to lay our truth down. We might act like we got it all figured out, but inside we're carrying questions, doubts, and wounds. And you got the power to be the one person on this planet who doesn't require us to perform. And that means more than beauty, that means more than sex, that means more than any material thing. Because every man, no matter how tough, how rich, how successful, every man wants to come home to peace. And that peace starts with being seen and still being accepted. Now, I know some women say, well, I've been there for him, I've listened, and he still walked away. And I hear you. That's real. But let me tell you, just because a man wasn't ready to open up doesn't mean you did something wrong. Some men are still battling themselves. They haven't even accepted their own truth yet, so how could they share it with you? Don't carry guilt for someone else's unfinished healing. But when a man is ready, when he's in that place where he's done pretending, done hiding, and he finds a woman who doesn't flinch at his truth, he falls. And not just halfway, not just for a moment. He falls deep. He falls for life. Because now you're not just the woman he dates, you're the woman he trusts. And for a man, trust is love. Not words, not flowers, not poems. Trust. That's the kind of love we don't just walk away from. That's the kind of love we pray for, but rarely find. So remember this. The key ain't in being perfect, it's in being real. It's in giving a man the space to be vulnerable without losing his dignity. When you can do that, baby, that's when he really, truly falls in love. Let me tell you something that's real important. Some women need to understand about men. We don't always walk around feeling like the man. A lot of times, we just acting like we do. But deep down, we got doubts, we got fears, and there are days when we question if we're really enough, if we really got what it takes. But you know when a man really starts to fall in love? Not when you flatter him, not when you agree with everything he says, but when you look at him, and I mean look at him and say, I believe in you. That's simple. I believe in you. Girl, you don't even know what that does to a man's spirit, because this world is hard on us. From the minute we step out that door, it's a fight. We're fighting to be respected, fighting to be heard, fighting to be strong even when we're tired. Everybody out here got something to say about what we ain't. We hear it all the time. What we're not doing, what we're lacking, what we should have done by now. So when a man finds a woman who sees past where he is right now and sees where he can go, that's everything. It ain't about being with a man who already got it all figured out. You want a man with potential? That means you're seeing the vision. You're looking past the mess and seeing the masterpiece in progress. And I'm not talking about saving nobody. I'm not telling you to be with a man who ain't trying or who's treating you wrong or just hoping he changes. That's not it. I'm talking about the man who's out here grinding, who's got dreams, but life's been beating him up a little. He's trying to climb, but some days it's hard. Some days he slips. And when he looks around, if you're the one still standing there saying, I see you, I know you got this, that lights a fire in him. Because here's what you need to know. Men are builders. We want to build something with our hands, with our hearts, with our legacy. And when we got a woman beside us who speaks to our potential, who says, I know you're going to do great things, we start seeing ourselves the way you see us. You become that voice in our head when we start to doubt ourselves. You become that reminder that we're not what the world says, we're more. A man can fall in love with your beauty, but he stays in love when you feed his purpose, when you push him to grow, not by nagging, not by criticizing, but by loving him through the process. That's a different kind of woman. That's not surface level love. That's foundation love. And that kind of woman, she's rare. She's unforgettable. See, every man has a vision, but not every man has someone who believes in it. And when he does find that person, he don't forget her. Ever. She becomes the one he fights harder for. He starts thinking about the future in a whole new way. He starts making moves not just for himself, but for the U.S. he's building with you. Because now, it ain't just about proving something to the world. It's about proving you right. It's about becoming the man you already see in him. Now, don't get me wrong. Believing in a man doesn't mean settling for less. It means recognizing the direction he's going. You're not just looking at where he's standing, you're looking at where his feet are pointed. He might not be there yet, but if he's got discipline, vision, and a desire to grow, that's the kind of man you invest your energy in. And when you show up for him with that kind of faith, you become his anchor. You become his reason not to give up. A man can go through 100 battles and still come home strong if he knows there's someone at home who believes in him. And I'm telling you, that belief is powerful. Because when a man is truly loved by a woman who sees his potential and reminds him of it, he becomes a better man, not just for her, but for himself. That kind of love inspires him. It sharpens him. It grows him. And you know what else? He starts protecting you differently. He cherishes you differently because he knows you didn't fall in love with the version of him the world applauds. You fell in love with the man he's becoming. And that hits different. That sticks. That's what keeps him coming home, keeps him loyal, keeps him building. So understand this. When you believe in his potential, not just with your words, but with your patience, your encouragement, and your presence, that's not just support. That's love in its highest form. That's the moment he starts to fall and fall deep. Let me break something down for you, because this right here might be one of the most misunderstood parts about men. And it's one of the biggest reasons why a man will either stay or slowly pull away. Peace. I'm talking about emotional peace, mental peace. That deep kind of calm a man feels when he's around you. That's what makes him stay. That's when he really starts to fall. A man can get pressure from everywhere, from work, from his boys, from the world, from the expectations that were put on him since he was a little boy. Be strong, don't cry, make money, be a provider, be a leader, fix this, handle that, be the man. And listen, we get it. We signed up for the role, we're built for it. But even the strongest man, even the most driven brother, needs a place where he can just breathe. You know what happens when a man comes home and all he finds is more pressure, more judgment, more demands, more critique? He starts looking for space. He starts pulling away. And not because he don't love you, but because he doesn't feel peace. He doesn't feel safe. He feels like he left one battlefield just to walk into another one. But when a man walks in that door and he sees your smile, not a forced smile, but that soft, warm smile that says, "I'm glad you're home," man, let me tell you, that does something to him. That brings his shoulders down, that makes him take a deep breath and think, finally, I can just be. Now look, peace doesn't mean silence. It don't mean being passive. It doesn't mean you never speak your truth. It means you've created a vibe around you that's nurturing, not nagging, supportive, not smothering. A vibe where he feels encouraged, not attacked. And let me be real with you. A man falls hard for a woman who becomes his peace, because that kind of woman is rare. You want to know what makes a man sit in his car for an hour before he walks into his house? Chaos. You want to know what makes him rush home, skip the gym, ignore the guys at the bar, and drive straight to you? Peace. That's the difference. That's the power you hold. Because let me tell you something. Sex can be great. The laughs can be plenty. The pictures on Instagram can be beautiful. But if the energy in that house is loud, combative, draining, he might stay for a while, but he won't stay forever. A man can't build his future in a war zone. He's looking for a teammate, not an opponent. So what does peace look like to a man? It looks like being able to say, I'm struggling without getting hit with, you always struggling. It looks like having a dream and not being told that's not realistic. It looks like having a disagreement without it turning into a shouting match or cold silence for days. It looks like knowing that even when he messes up, you're still with him, not against him. And peace goes both ways. It ain't just about making a man comfortable. It's about both of y'all being able to relax into each other. But you, as the woman, set the tone. Your energy, that's the atmosphere. When a man walks into a woman's presence and feels relief, baby, that's love in motion. That's where he wants to be. I've seen men walk away from beautiful women, successful women, intelligent women, not because they didn't admire them, but because they didn't feel peace. And I've seen men chase women who weren't flashy, who weren't loud, who didn't need to prove nothing, but they brought peace, and that was everything. And no, I'm not telling you to be his therapist or to carry all his burdens. That ain't your job. But if you can be his place of peace, his balance in a chaotic world, you become his home. And listen, men don't leave home easy. When we find that kind of sanctuary in a woman, we hold on tight. Because that kind of love is healing. It's rare. It's life-changing. Think about it. When a man feels at peace, he performs better. He thinks clear. He moves with more confidence. He starts dreaming bigger. Because now he's not just surviving, he's living. And that's because of you. You become the difference between a man who's always in defense mode and a man who's finally walking in his purpose. And here's the truth. Peace don't cost money. It don't come from buying gifts or booking vacations. Peace comes from how you talk to him, how you treat him when he's weak, how you handle conflict, how you speak to his soul. Are you building him or breaking him? Are you calming him or draining him? Because that's the energy he's going to associate with you. And if you become that peace, if he knows that your presence brings him back to center, that's when he really falls. Not because you're perfect, not because everything's always easy, but because with you he's found something this world can't give him. And that's peace in a person. That's when he knows he's home. Let me break something down for you that a lot of people get twisted, especially in relationships. Love, real love, don't grow from how many things you do for a man. It doesn't grow from how many meals you cook, how many times you clean up after him, or how often you make his plate before your own. Those things are nice, no doubt. We appreciate them. But listen to me carefully. That's not what makes a man fall in love. That's not what makes him stay up late thinking about you. That's not what makes him build a life with you. A man falls in love through trust. That's the foundation. That's the root. That's what makes him see you different. Because when a man feels like he can trust you, not just with his stuff, but with his heart, his truth, his fears, his silence, his dreams, that's when love starts to grow. See, the world teaches us something backward. It teaches us to earn love by doing. If I do enough for him, he'll stay. If I take care of everything, he'll see I'm the one. But love don't work like that. That's called a transaction. And love is not a transaction. It's a connection. It's not about proving your value by exhausting yourself for him. It's about building a bond so deep that he don't want to go nowhere else, even when the world tries to pull him away. Now, don't get me wrong, acts of service matter, but those tasks, those efforts, they only mean something if the trust is already there. If a man don't trust you, he might enjoy the benefits, but he won't bond. He might be grateful, but he won't be vulnerable. And without vulnerability, there is no love. There's just convenience. You want to know when a man really starts to fall in love? It's when he realizes you ain't going to use his pain against him. It's when he opens up and tells you something that scares him and you hold it like it's precious. It's when he messes up. Not something that disrespects you, but when life gets hard or he's not his best self and you don't abandon him. That's when he starts looking at you like, she's real. She's different. She sees me. Trust is what allows a man to hand over the parts of himself he don't show anybody else. Not just the strong parts, the messy parts, the stuff that doesn't look good on social media. And when he sees that you're not going to shame him, mock him, or throw it in his face later, that's when he connects with you in a way that's deeper than words. And trust don't come overnight. It comes from consistency. It comes from your energy when you're mad. It comes from how you respond when you don't get your way. It comes from how you handle pressure, not just from him, but from life. And when a man sees that your character doesn't change based on your mood, when he sees that you don't just love him when it's easy, but when it's real, that's when his heart starts choosing you every day on purpose. A lot of women ask, why do men leave even when I did everything right? I cooked, I supported him, I stood by him, and my heart goes out to you because I know that's painful. But here's the truth. Doing everything right doesn't guarantee love, because love is not a checklist. Love is trust built over time. Love is connection rooted in truth, not tasks. You could be the best woman a man's ever had in terms of what you do, but if he don't feel emotionally safe with you, he won't be able to love you the way you deserve. He might stay out of loyalty. He might stay out of comfort, but he won't be all in. And don't you want somebody who's all in? Somebody whose soul is in it, not just their schedule? So if you want to know how to make a man fall in love, not just be with you, but fall in love, focus less on impressing him and more on knowing him. Listen to what he's not saying. Protect what he does say. Give him space when he needs it and presence when he doesn't know how to ask. And most importantly, be real. Because trust grows where truth lives. And once that trust is established, once he sees that you are a place where he can be himself without fear of being torn down or misunderstood, that's when love starts to take root. That's when he doesn't just like being around you. That's when he needs to be around you. That's when you're not just his woman, you're his piece, his partner, his person. And that kind of love, it doesn't fade. It doesn't get boring. It grows, it deepens. It is not built on task, it's built on trust.